Track 3, My Shot.
Can I just add really quick? That was by far my favorite.
It's definitely the best one.
It's definitely a lot of people's favorite. It feels like a hit, doesn't it?
I quote it so much to my teammates and nobody catches it. And it hurts.
I have to say, now that you mentioned it, the old hip hop versus the new, I can really pick it out in that.
What did you catch in terms of some of the old versus the new?
Well, just like who was singing which, like you can tell the difference in the rhythm.
Yeah. So does anybody know, in musical theater terms, this is called the I Want song. This usually exists in some form in most fiction, but musical theater is very blatant about it. What does the I Want song do for the, or what does, do you know what I mean by the I Want song?
Isn't it like something the main character desires?
Yeah.
Progress the musical along?
Yeah. It's really stating what they want, you know, in the thing. And often it is accompanied with the words I want. Beauty and the Beast. I want adventure in the great wide open. I want, okay? So this happens, and it's often the second song or blended in, like with Belle, it's just a very long opening sequence. It's essentially the second part of this provincial life. Here, this is also very quick into the sequence, saying what they want. But in terms of that I want, let's assume that most good hero's journeys give a statement of what the hero's desires are, right? Even if it isn't the hero saying, I want to go on an adventure, right? But what does that statement of some sort, saying what's in store, what the hero wants, do for the rest of the story? Anybody?
The direction of where he's headed and the goal.
It absolutely gives a direction. You know, part of what keeps us from wondering if a story is wandering is not knowing where. How many of you have watched a movie, you know, even a good one, maybe the first time through, you're like, where's this heading? It just feels like it's wandering. I mean, this is why the structure is so, this is when those moments are when you need to realize how ingrained this structure is into our psyche, even if we as humans don't know how to analyze it and pick it apart. If we don't get some of these markers, we start going, what's happening? They're just rambling. When's this going? How long is this? That's usually about the moment where you start wondering how long it is, because you kind of just recognize that markers happen at a certain point. But the other thing is it really starts to get us in line with that hero, because often these wants and desires are something that a lot of people can recognize with and identify with the hero. So you probably want to look for a moment to set up those goals, set up what's happening to your hero, what we should be expecting. Then we also know that if we know what the hero wants, then we know what an obstacle is, right? For like test allies, enemies, as that comes up. And if we don't know what the person wants, we don't know what, you know, we don't recognize when something's getting in the way of that. Lyrically, what are some interesting things that you notice going on in here? How fast is this move?
Very fast.
So what techniques does he employ in this song to help absorb the fast-moving lyrics?
It's a lot of repetition.
Yeah. So what does the repetition do for you as a listener mentally? Is it?
It's a hook.
It's a hook? Which is hook?
I was gonna say help you remember, but yeah.
Well, it does become something hooked that lets you remember. I'm looking for a different.
Probably to get the point across.
It drills in the main point, even if you're missing other lyrics. You know that the ultimate thing is we all want our shot, right? But I also say that repetition gives you a point to reflect, so to speak. At a certain point, when you know what the line is, you can kind of take in, enjoy the hook, but also maybe reflect a little bit more on what was just said. It isn't moving on yet to another statement. Is a repetition ever used in fiction? I see you nodding your head. Can you name any ideas of how, whether specific or general?
I can't think of a specific example, but a lot of times if they want to get like a really strong like point across, so you know, there was no one there. somebody here, like.
Yeah.
I know examples of
In terms of sentence structure,
that.
In Stephen King's The Gunslinger, it definitely repeats the gunslinger. You know, the very first line is, the man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. And that's literally the very last line in the book as well. And that's right, in the very last line in the last book. So that's definitely a point that's repeated across the books.
yeah.
I think Edgar Allan Poe kind of used it quite a bit because to make it kind of creepier to a point, like when the Raven's saying stuff. So yeah.
Also, what happens when you set up a pattern?
Well, then you expect it the next time.
What?
Well, then the reader expects it the next time.
Expect it next time. Yeah, it's something you expect. But also, maybe we'll find out if this goes through or not. It may not always. I don't know if it applies in this song or not. I can't remember. But it's something that you guys can use. Repetition also can set up. Repetition or setting up a pattern can make something noticeable when that pattern is broken. And sometimes you need to set up a pattern quickly because maybe the pattern broken is you're crossing the threshold, or maybe the pattern broken has to do with your supreme ordeal or what's going on. But often in our stories, the breaking of a pattern is a necessary story plot. So you got to set up some repetition to set up that pattern if that's going to be the case. I mean, the density of when I talk about consonants, assonance, rhyme, what all is going on with just a colony that runs independently. Meanwhile, Britain keeps shitting on us endlessly. Essentially, they tax us relentlessly. Then King George turns around and suspended free. He ain't never going to set his descendants free. So there will be a revolution in the century. Enter me. How much of, just in that one little paragraph, I mean, how many things do not, but look at the words. Are any of the words not a rhyme, assonance, consonants with something else in that sequence? You know, we got that and tags, uns. Let's see. Runs. I don't think they do. Does anyone else see an uns? I think they're actually uns is not. Except we got turns, which has the same z, and it's there's like not a word in here that doesn't match up with something else in the sequence, and that is just dense. Not just on the informational, but just on sheer trickery. Yeah.
This might be an obvious point, but my shot means multiple things. And just
Oh yeah. What all does the and then just the layers to my shot? Can start naming the things that shot references. My shot.
Like a chance.
What?
It's chance.
Like chance. What else?
The duel.
What?
Duel.
The duel at the end. Yeah. What else?
Literally a shot.
Yes. Yeah. They are taking shots in the bar while they do this. What else?
ammunition. Right?
Yeah, ammunition. So this one simple thing of my shot has so many different layers of meaning going on with it.
And altogether, that tells us about Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
All of those things are true at once. He's not stopping drinking. He's not going to give up his ammunition. He's not giving up his opportunities, right?
Yes. Chances. It's chances that whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah. So we saw what he wanted, and then we see what he wants, but we also see that he's going to fight for it, right?
Yeah, when he says that he'll die for his country, he will die. So the revolution's coming, he's ready to die for it.
Mm-hmm. And he talks about his hardships before and what he's doing. Now, despite what we've studied in class, at this moment, with or without knowledge, how much does this song make you want to root for Alexander Hamilton?
Oh,
What?
I'm
You know, it's hard to resist. And in terms of, remember, his goal is to definitely set up the idea of, our founding fathers and this character as a hero. Lin-Manuel definitely has an agenda. I'd say even stronger than Chernow. I think, like Chernow, I think is is probably much more likely the result of, as you say, historians falling in love with their subject.
Even the direct association with the young country.
Yeah.
The young, scrappy, and
Yeah.
just like America, so there, I think that was intentional
Yeah.
for the sake of Hamilton.
Yeah. Hamilton is America. We're Americans. We all have this wonderful thing. And again, Lynn truly was. I mean, Chernow probably fell in love with the subject through the writing of the bio. Lin-Manuel found Alexander Hamilton because of Chernow and pretty much already went in with, as he started reading, immediately saw the angle of, wow, this guy wrote his way to the top, which for Lin-Manuel as a writer was very compelling. You know, while Lin-Manuel was hardly poor in any way, he still definitely has now written his way far past his upper middle class upbringing. This show, you know, even the last show did him well. You know, his first musical. So at the point when he's writing this, he's already a success on Broadway within the Heights. He's now truly written himself to the top, richer than most human beings could imagine over the next few years. All right, let's go on to the next.